Welcome to Future Engineering. If you're an aspiring engineer, then you're going to be interested in the CAD market. That is the market for CAD software, computer-aided design. The way I like to think about it is in the top, middle and lower end. So you've got the top end of the market, the mid-range of the market, the lower end, and then there's some free ones after that. We're mainly talking about 3D mechanical CAD here. So at the top of the market there's really two, and that's NX, which is owned by Siemens, and there's CATIA, and that's owned by Dassault Systems, another company. Now both of those are at the top of the market, and you can pay $20,000 and upwards. If you need lots of different modules in your CAD software, then you'll be paying maybe up to $100,000 per seat. That's just one license of CAD software, and it's $100,000. That's the top end of the market, and typically that's the aerospace companies, the automotive industry. They've all of those companies use one or the other of NX or CATIA. Then we've got the mid-range, and whereas the top end is $20,000 and upwards, mid-range CAD software ranges between $5,000 per seat and $15,000 per seat. And there are some names like SolidWorks, Solid Edge, Inventor, and there used to be one that was much more popular here in Australia. I haven't heard of it so much lately. It used to be called Pro Engineer and is now called PTC Windchill. It's actually a little bit above mid-range in capability, but as I say, it's not quite so popular these days where I live at any rate. Then of course there's also AutoCAD, which is the old-fashioned two-dimensional CAD software that everybody recognises. But SolidWorks, Solid Edge and Inventor seems to be the mid-range CAD programs of choice. Here in Australia the market is evenly split between SolidWorks and Inventor. Not sure why Solid Edge is not so popular here in Australia, but all the job advertisements split between SolidWorks and Inventor. As I say, $5,000 to $15,000. I've taught all of those CAD programs in the last 15 years, or at least the basics of them. Both the top end, NX and CATIA, as well as all of those mid-range CAD programs. Then of course you've got the low end of the software market, and there's a number of names that you might recognise. There's a Libre, TurboCAD, IronCAD, BricsCAD, more recently Onshape. Rhino is another one. It's probably what you might call a specialty program. It's a bit different to the others in that most of the other CAD software is parametric and mechanical CAD. Rhino is preferred by jewelers. It's also preferred by people who design boat hulls, things which need a lot of organic surface shaping. It's a fascinating program. I haven't had a great deal to do with it. I've dabbled in it briefly. So that's the top end, the mid-range, the lower end. Then there's some free ones. There's one called FreeCAD. There's a program called a Libre, which does have, it's changed hands a couple of times in the past. Now it's one of the low-end offerings, but it also has a free version. Then there's also Onshape, which is a commercial offering, but also has a free level. Then there's Fusion 360, put out by the same people that put out AutoCAD, and Fusion 360 is perhaps a good option for a small business with a certain limit of income per annum, and AutoCAD are really working hard to try and get some market share in that low end with mechanical CAD. So for my recommendations, you can look up and download my PDF on this topic for more detail, but very briefly, I don't see any good reason for anybody to learn NX or CATIA, that is those really expensive top-end programs, unless you've got a job already or lined up for a job in the aerospace companies or one of the major car companies. Just don't bother. Okay, for the mid-range CAD programs, have a look at the job market where you are. I know that here in Australia the market is split between Inventor and SolidWorks, and so it's either of those doesn't really matter too much. I've spent a lot of time on SolidWorks because it's a very popular program here in Australia. So my recommendation for the low end or free end is Onshape, and Onshape is a program that You can it does have a commercial application, but you can also do the free version. It just means that you don't have any private space on the server. But that's not too bad of a disadvantage for a student. If you've got intellectual property that you're responsible to protect, well then maybe you should be looking at something else. But Onshape is great for a student, and it's available for free. So if you like what you've seen, just go ahead and click like and subscribe to this channel and ring that notification bell. Talk about this in the comments below. We'll see you next time.